So
That,
there.
that magical voice lets us know that we're doing things the right way this time.
I like magic voices.
Well, yes, I get an awful lot of them, but that's a conversation for another time, Krister. It's a conversation for another time, and for my therapist. So, Krister, first and foremost, welcome back once again. A pleasure to have you on the screens of the WEEGAMERS and the Bunk Club once more.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Well, you say that, but that's because you are from a civilized and polite society, and I'll just take it at face value because I need the love right now. So, Krister, the last time we chatted, obviously, the Kickstarter was in full swing. Well, no, the last time we chatted, we rolled up a character, which was awesome fun.
Yep.
But the last time we chatted sort of formally, the Kickstarter was in full swing. You were sort of pulling your hair out, no pun intended, but, you know, the pressure was on, it was busy, and there was things going on. Now, of course, you're sitting back and enjoying the champagne and sitting in the hot pool every day. No?
Not really. We're working our asses off to get the Pledge Manager running. We're talking to dice producers, printers, all that stuff to get the best prices. And it's, well, we're producing stuff as well. Like I'm sitting with a map of Brussels at the moment. I'm drawing that. And so we're busy. We have a few days off now in midsummer. But we needed that.
Yeah, midsummer in Sweden is awesome. I have had the very good fortune of spending 2 midsummers in Sweden up near Umeå. And I just love it. Very, very happy memories. And now you're making me pine slightly that I'm not doing it and I haven't done it in years. So, Krister, obviously, when you came to Kickstarter, you arrived, you had a very fleshed out idea of what the Troubleshooters was going to be. One of the first things I'd like to ask you now that the dust has settled is, has the project evolved and changed hugely with its engagement with the public?
I don't think that there will be any major changes. I mean, there will be quite a lot of small additions. Like it was suggested early on that we should have a map over Brussels because that's kind of the origin of the genre. So right now I'm drawing the map over Brussels. And like many other places in Europe, Brussels has not the most fun road map or street layout to draw. There are lots of old streets.
Are you not allowed to cheat a little bit and get like a really old map and just kind of photocopy it a bit?
Yeah, but the problem is that there aren't no really old maps from 1965.
Really?
No, first of all, 1965 would still be covered by the Berne Convention, so we couldn't use those. And second, most of those maps are probably in printed form and in Brussels. And very few of them are online. Trust me, I've looked.
Tried to cheat, but he wasn't allowed to. I've got to say, though, there have been, I've sort of got not the pledge manager, sorry, I've got the page open in a minute, because towards the end, as we all really knew, towards the end, that project went woof. Because I remember when you and I were talking, you were like, oh, it's had a little bit of a quiet start. And I went, yeah, but it'll explode. And then it really did explode.
I'm surprised of quite a lot of different developments. I mean, we had a quite slow start. We didn't reach our funding after like 7 hours, I think. Still on the first day, so I won't complain.
Yeah.
But then it didn't hit that mid-level flat, really. It was still like at least some 10,000 kronor per day, often up around 50,000. So I mean, we ended up. There were a few days where practically nothing happened, and then it sped off again at the end. But it wasn't that 2 weeks mid campaign lull that it usually is.
No, it seemed to just have a steady sort of tick over. What do you put that down to? Because you're quite right. A lot of projects. I mean, it is a thing. You called it the mid pledge lull, and most projects do sort of see that period where nothing happens. Why did this not slow down?
I think that it's part because we had a campaign that was only 3 weeks. Part of it was that the word kind of got started and started to spread about this campaign, mid-campaign rather than building up before. It was almost as if people never heard about it before. And part of it, I think, was the great interaction between us at Helmgast and all of you who were in on the campaign. And the atmosphere was great. I really loved that conversation. And I think it showed. It drew more and more people in, and the positive atmosphere helped a lot, I think.
I was wondering as well, because it's one of the beautiful things, and I've had this conversation with several people now, and you brought it up particularly in the interview we originally done, where I'm going to say nobody dies in the Troubleshooters. You can die, but you have to almost, as you said, you have to choose to do it. You engage with death as like a choice and a heroic thing. Is it the fact that this is such a positive kind of game? Is it a connection for people with that childhood connection with the comics? I mean, is there something deeper here than just, the fact that you folks were lovely and you talked and engaged with your audience? I'm sort of wondering, do you feel that there's something about the product itself that it's a breath of fresh air and people are welcoming that at the minute?
I think so. I mean, quite a lot of people expressed that they were happy to see such a positive game that wasn't as grimdark as many others.
Yeah, it's nice that there's no shadows in this, except kind of mysterious shadows in the corner,
or possibly little ink splotch at the feet.
Yeah, well, make sure you tidy those up. We don't want any sort of grubby marks on our pages when our fancy books come now. Well, nice, clean, crisp pages.
Yep.
But it's been lovely to see. Again, this is one of those projects where the things that you folks kept throwing out as the stretch goals all nicely seem to be sensible stuff. Now, I've got to say, I've only just recently, I think I told you this at the time, and it's not out of disinterest. I tend to pledge for a project and then go away. I kind of turn the computer off and I don't look at it again on usually until the end. Troubleshooters has been a bit different because there was this excitement, but I finally got seeing the artwork for the U-boat mysteries, and do you know what? I wouldn't care if that was £20 and 3 pages thick. The cover, I just went, she's doing the diving and there's the submarine and all in the background. I don't know if it's the finished work or not.
It is a finished work.
Your artist is just something special.
Oh yes, she is. She's a treasure, and I really want to use her in the future for everything else. She is such a great artist, and she's a manner-wise, she's a chameleon. She can go from almost painted art to manga to this French Belgian style, to just about any style you can imagine. And I've never seen such a quality in an artist before.
It is tremendous, and I have to salute you because you have obviously very carefully chosen to homage certain comics, even certain covers of particular books or comics, because you can kind of look at some of your pictures and go, I almost recognize that. Yeah. It's beautiful. I like, very clever marketing, young man. Very clever.
Oh, yes. And yes, we do all these kind of homages all the time, even in the text.
I'm looking forward to getting to read more of that. But one of the things I've got to say, there's been a whole host of little extras, the travel guides, the maps, the dice, the little sort of event cards, or not event cards, sorry, the item cards and things. What has been... Oh, look at that. It opens up like a proper map.
This is just a prototype, but I had to show it now that we were talking
So
about it.
brilliant. I love it.
This is what we want the real maps to be, but it depends quite a lot on the price from the printers.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah, I mean, if it becomes a poster and you can fold it out like that, I'm happy.
Yeah.
If you can put a cover on it as well, I'm doubly happy.
I'm planning to have a map in the campaign that looks like this one on the virtual background behind me. The players don't need to add string and thumbtacks and handouts that I print out for them to the board behind us. I'm not doing my job as a keeper in the slightest. But no, what I wanted to know from you, because this is very much your baby, out of all the lovely extras that come out, what's the one where you have kind of been like, yes, we got that. This is it. You know, what's the one that really pushed your buttons?
I think well the one that I really wanted because it's so important to the game was a travel set. Because it will be the dice, it will be the equipment card, the card, and so on. But it's actually not the one thing. The one thing that most inspires me is the international passport package. Now I don't have any prototypes for those, but I mean, just to have different nationalities on the passports, that will add a lot of atmosphere to the game. Just a regular passport adds quite a lot to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do like that idea as well, I've got to say. I have to say I'm particularly taken by your GM screen. I think that's... A lot of games don't even bother with them anymore.
In this case, we had an excellent chapter header illustration, which I chose to use as a front piece of the GM screen. So I have asked Ronja to make it longer to cover all three panels of the front.
Right. I've got to say, I did like your octopus symbol as well on the sides. I thought it made me think of like banners hanging down either side of the Evil Genius's lair too.
But I mean, I think it just begs to be longer, that illustration.
Yeah.
There's so much more going on at the sides there.
I kind of imagine more minions standing in the background, like some sort of dark purple legion.
Or possibly the heroes of the game being held up and strained up and struggling to get loose. And
oh yeah, well, this is funny. I mean, one of the projects, and I hate to cut into yours, but it just makes me think of the Troubleshooters. Next weekend, we're doing a charity build. We're broadcasting for 12 hours, and I'm going to build a secret base. It's a secret lair, basically, an MDF one from Crooked Dice. Because I think I've showed you I sent you a link where we're talking about the chairs and things like that.
Oh yes.
So Crooked Dice has sent me the entire lair, all the extras that go into it, because we're doing a fundraiser for a depression fund, Aware NI, and I've got to say, the temptation to start doing purple walls and things.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to talk to you about getting the octopus symbol and seeing if I can 3D print something to have on the wall of the main control room, because I've got a globe now. I've got a globe for the Evil Genius's lair as well.
Oh yes. Oh please do.
Yeah.
And do send me the link so I can paste it onto this video when I link to it.
Oh, no probs. Yeah, no, it's just one of those wee things. There's so many people that we talk to in the hobby, and in Northern Ireland, depression is a big issue amongst gamers. So I think we've raised at this point over £700 towards it. So it's just nice to do, and the hobby is such a good therapy. A lot of people find out as well. Maybe next Saturday, if you're free, you can pop online and chat to me while I'm building for 5 or 10 minutes and share your experiences of the good feelings that you get when you're engaged in your own hobby there with the role playing or whatever else. But anyway, cutting in, starting to make this an interview with me, and that's not what this is about. I take it now is that sort of stage where you're getting a better idea as well about those little costs that always hang in the air, like postage and things, or are you reasonably happy that what you kind of predicted is how it's going to pan out?
The postage is actually something that has not panned out as we hoped because of the coronavirus and all that stuff. There are fewer flights in the air. Transportation costs and postage in general has just skyrocketed, especially for heavy stuff like books and so I'm afraid that postage and handling will be a bit more expensive than we have anticipated. That also ties into all the manufacturers, all their prices. They will also go up. The big question is actually the dice. They are to be delivered in about 2 to 3 months, which is just about when we are to start delivering to you.
So it's tight time scale. I think most people now, with the way things have been going, have kind of come to terms that the time has to be a bit flexible. Cost has got a bit flexible. Of course, this is a golden opportunity. If the price of postage is going to be higher, the pledge manager still has to open. So it makes complete sense for you to simply increase your pledge and get all of the books. Because if you're going to pay the postage to get them sent to you, you might as well pay the postage to have all of them sent. So we can all increase our pledges.
Exactly. But yes, I don't think there is too much to worry about the delivery time. I think the schedule is still realistic, and maybe we'll miss by a week or so, but I can't say at this moment. But everything looks all right at the moment, at least.
Yeah. It's bound to be the case that Helmgast in general must be really pleased with how the Troubleshooters has panned out with its success in Kickstarter. Has it cemented a place in the catalogue of Helmgast now that the Troubleshooters moving forward is going to see continued support the way that things like Cult has and stuff like that?
Oh yes, it has. It is now part of our inventory.
Brilliant.
And you will see future products as well.
This is
quite high, in quite rapid succession, I think. I mean, as soon as we get this one out of the house, we can start to focus on the next book. And we have ideas for the future that are really, really fun.
Oh, come on, give us a hint. Give us a wee surprise.
Well, if you remember, I talked about the Troubleshooters being a kind of a moniker for all those non-government agents that solved other people's troubles.
Yeah.
Of course, as the world goes on and the octopus becomes more known, the governments will have to respond. And that means that there will be eventually a government organization or an international organization opposing them, and who better to recruit than the characters who already know about it?
Yeah, true enough. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting exciting ideas of what that organization could be, what it could be like.
I will tell you as much as that it is not an abbreviation, the name that we have thought up.
It will be in my game.
The reason that we thought is that if you make an abbreviation like NATO, some people with different language structure will not be able to read out what the abbreviation stands for.
Oh yeah, right enough. Never thought about that.
So if you look at the NATO plane, you will see that it is NATO on one side of the logo and OTAN on the other side, and that is for the French name, which I can't spell out at the moment.
Ooh,
which
okay.
Practically happens to be, when abbreviated, comes out the exact opposite way. Organisation de Triatiste Atlantic North or something like that.
I just had notions that, you would end up coming up with an acronym that in some language would end up like sounding like the word bottom or something. And you were just avoiding it in case you ended up saying Willie in like Latvian or something.
Nah, really. We thought about it, and the logical thing was that we just make up a name for the organization. that kind of works everywhere.
Cool. Make sure you give us like enough time for another payday to have hit. You know, the world needs its paydays at the minute.
Don't worry about that. I mean, it will take us about. This book is about a few. This must be in the future, like 2 or 3 years in the future.
2 or 3 years.
And until then, there will be adventures, lots of them.
Yeah, but I know what Helmgast's like. You said the see, Modiphius does this all the time too. Oh yeah, we've got some future releases planned. Oh, that's nice. I must save up for something. What do you mean you've released 9 things this month?
Well, the problem is that I am the main writer.
Oh, of course.
So that will obviously slow down production a bit.
Yeah, because you have to fit in, you know, going to the cafe and going for your champagne saunas and things like that there.
Yeah, and actually write the stuff. And
it's a difficult life. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
There he is in Sweden at midsummer with all the heat and all the blonde people, and he's complaining about having to write some words on a book. So, in terms of the book, I mean, everything's ready now, right?
All text is written and has passed the editor, and that goes for the adventure book as well.
Brilliant.
So right now, when I'm not drawing maps for Brussels, I am writing on the Quickstart scenarios. I have 2 to write. One is almost finished, and the other one is not quite as finished.
I like that turn of phrase. It's not quite as finished. I used to use that at university to mean it's not started.
Well, it is started. There is a synopsis, and there are some bits written for it, but the other one is much closer to being finished. And the one that is almost finished is How Robo Santa Stole the Christmas.
Still can't get over that title. I'm almost half expecting that adventure to have absolutely nothing to do with robots or Christmas. I just had visions that you got really hammered in the pub one night with a team, came up with this adventure. Everyone goes, but Krister, what will we call it? Oh, we're going to call it How Robo Santa Stole Xmas. What? That's it. It's decided. I'm not listening to any of you. I'm going home. And it'll be something to do with hot air balloons.
It's not quite as how Snakes on a Plane came to be, but almost.
Oh dear. Oh, here. This is something you and I both share love of. So I've got to know if you're going to squeeze one in. I noticed that you spotted our share of the airships Quest for the North.
Oh, yes.
Pole. Yes. Please tell me there's airships now in the Troubleshooters as well, or just put one in randomly.
There will be.
Yes. Your game's gone from perfect to everything I'll ever need again.
Yeah. Well, I'm very fond of that era, actually. I mean, at least aesthetically.
Yes. Yeah.
There are quite a lot of other shit in that era, like Hitler and...
Oh, yeah, there was lots of bad guys used it. But here's the thing. Bad guys used them.
Well, I once expressed that I kind of missed the Cold War. I mean, ever since the Cold War ended, you have not had any good villains in the movies.
It's like, what's the biggest threat we can have now? Oh, let's have some terrorists. Let's have some insurgents. No.
I mean, you have to love the Bond, the Russians in the Bond movies. I mean, what was his name? Gogol.
Oh.
I think. Director Gogol of the KGB.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the Russian girl that went over to join Spectre.
Yep.
You remember his like lieutenant? She ended up joining Spectre then as well. But
yep.
even the modern bad guys in Bond were good, because you had the one that was like the media baron, and he, you know, was like trying to manipulate all the news, and then you had the new, what was M or whatever, not M, Q or K or somebody with a breakfast cereal name was trying to actually espionage itself to sort of defeat. And they had lots of little modern kind of twists where they were like little villains. They were just trying to carve out wee tiny empires and not blow up the entire planet normally.
Exactly. I mean, I miss KGB.
You're possibly the only person on the planet to have used that turn of phrase.
Oh yes.
I miss the KGB.
Yeah, but I mean, the villains were better in that time.
No, I know what you mean. There was a classic type of villain.
Yes.
Even in the old movies, not just in the Bond movies, but even in the old black and whites and things like that. They were bad and they were menacing, but there was a certain class about them. There was a certain style, a je ne sais quoi.
Exactly. I mean, the best villain since the end of the Cold War, I think that is Emperor Palpatine. And he was basically invented before the end of the Cold War, but I mean, he's so over the top, he's so classy, he's so campy, he's so perfect as a villain.
Oh, he's got everything, and he's got the big chair.
Oh yes.
You see, this is where for a lot of villains, it's all gone wrong. Once they lost the big chair,
yep,
they lost so much respect.
That's why the big chair on that GM screen is so important.
Yeah. It's all about the chair. You see, villains need more IKEA.
Yep.
And just thank the stars that you and the Troubleshooters and Helmgast have come along to give us back a game world where we can have, don't mean silly villains, but I want villains to have airships and to have bad guys abseiling down into the Louvre to steal the Mona Lisa, for no one to actually bother asking, why are they stealing the Mona Lisa? Who cares? They're villains. They're taking it to build, they're taking it because they're going to put the Mona Lisa into a satellite filled with diamonds stolen from like a diamond mine, because it's going to force everybody on the planet to adopt the same smile. There, that's the threat of tonight's mission.
Thank you. You've just solved a great plot point for me.
No, you're welcome. Honestly, if you're using any of my ideas, you're desperate and you need a holiday. Hello, Helmgast. I think Krister needs a wee holiday. Almost as bad as the Robo Santa Xmas story where they drive Volkswagens through the sewers. Ooh, Volkswagens through the sewers. Yes. See, this your game world, the Troubleshooters, has me actually thinking of fresh things, fresh for me, to do with role-playing adventures. I'd become so jaded that it was like, right, there's going to be a gunfight, somebody's going to get murdered, and they have to steal something. There we go. That's the scenario. Oh, what game he's playing? My Little Pony.
I totally know what you mean. I mean, I would love to see the Troubleshooters on the big screen.
Oh yeah, totally. I want to see. Now, I tried to get this to happen for you, but you were busy and he was busy. But you're going to have to check out the miniatures done by Carl at Crooked Dice, because if there's a guy who can give miniatures to the Troubleshooter team and all their villains, he's the guy you need to be talking to, dude. Troubleshooters on the tabletop. Go from the tabletop to Netflix.
Yep. Straight line.
Yeah, there's not even anything in between. Maybe a couple of interviews on like Good Morning TV or something like that there. But it's, once you've got a proper board game side of it going, then everyone just wants to make a movie out of it.
Well, it's happened in Battleship.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? This is lovely, because with the genre that you finally ripped the lid off, I mean, to see a tabletop board game of the Troubleshooters, it's, if you'd said to me 6 months ago, oh, I've got this idea for a tabletop board game, here's what it is, like, oh, don't know how that's going to work. But hearing how it works in the mechanics of the role-playing game, my head can now go, yeah, I can see how that's going to work as a tabletop board game now as well. So I'll just leave that one with you. You only have to put my name on the side of the box.
Only if you design it for me.
Oh, absolutely, but only if you sign mine. Welcome to the Krister and We Andy Appreciation Society, where we just flatter each other for half an hour. So, Krister, in all seriousness then, okay, you've got the pledge manager kind of under wraps. You've got everything in writing that needs to be in writing. You've got the artwork all sort of signed, sealed and delivered, a few tweaks here and there. You've got your postage in hand and all the rest of it. Are there any big hurdles left? I know you're concerned about stuff arriving in time and all the rest of it, but is there anything still sitting on the horizon where you're kind of going, I don't know how we're going to do that?
No, not really. I mean, we have all the details fixed almost. It's just getting the printers to start to print.
Well, there we go. Interview's over. There's absolutely nothing to worry about. Krister's got it in hand. Hell and gas sorted, folks. Really, he's as relaxed and calm and cavalier about the whole thing now as he was when this thing still needed to go 3/4 through its funding. It's like,
I mean, I'm starting to think beyond the horizon about the next thing, and which adventure should be the next one. And there has been some request that the next adventure should at least have something to do with the United States. Surprisingly, quite a lot of the backers are from the US.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I mean,
so surprised.
There were like 250 people from Sweden, 250 people from France, and 250 more people from the United States.
That's 750 people.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
Out of 1,116.
1,116. So where are the rest from? Everywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, UK had 74, I think. Belgium had some 60.
I mean, This is practically in honor of you guys, and only 60 of you's backed it. What are you playing at?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that you find the pledge manager afterwards.
Yeah, check the link out. I'm going to have to add the link. Maybe because their maps are so bad, they just couldn't find the Kickstarter.
I don't think that their maps are bad. I mean, the Google map is actually pretty excellent, but it's a bit too modern. And it's just that those from the era are in print and not available in Sweden. So that's another thing. If you have a map of your favorite city from 1960 about, send it to me.
You heard that, folks? Krister needs maps, 1960s, European cities, Belgium particularly.
Every place in the world. I mean,
everywhere, right? Anyone with maps, and you know what? There's map collectors out there. There's somebody's going to have. It's going to. I say, Joanne, could you bring me my 1960 map collection?
And they don't have to be that good quality. I mean, I can fudge things in between. I've noticed that artists are not that fond of that boring stuff.
They're not fond of it until they need to buy food. Then I find they can become remarkably fond of it.
But anyway, it's a task that I can do, so I do it.
Yeah, but you're just doing this to get out of finishing writing your second scenario. I know what you writers are like as well. It's like, oh, there's a fly trapped at the kitchen window. I'll just come back to this in a minute after I save it. Is there any excuse to get away from a typewriter?
Nah, not really. I mean,
typewriter. What year am I from?
1965, I think.
Apparently so.
But I have seriously thought about going back to a typewriter. I mean, they're quite a lot less distracting.
Yeah, I can't see your editor being completely thrilled at that idea.
No. The editor wants in either Word format or Google Docs.
I think you can get a fancy kind of electric modern typewriter where you can put like a USB stick into it, so you can still do your tickety, but I think you can like transfer it onto the stick and go, there you go, and here's 375 pages of foolscap as well.
Yep.
You're just a quaint, old-fashioned kind of guy.
Yes.
Well, at least you get to live out your dreams and hopes in the Troubleshooters. Well, look, I promised you we would try and keep this to about 25 minutes. I think I've kept you to about 40 minutes. I'm going to stop.
Yes.
Because you're unfortunately one of those people, Krister, that I could just sit here, go and make a coffee and come back and talk to you all day about anything under the sun. But that doesn't let you get writing done. And it means that I have a much longer video to edit as I edit out me drinking coffee lots. So I will let you sign off now. Is there anything you would like to say to the people out there? I don't know, the 3 or 4 people and my mum that are going to watch this probably.
I mean, I'm very happy that you tuned in and will look at this. I guess this is recorded and put up in the future.
Oh yeah.
So I'm very happy that you will tune in and look at it, and I hope that you will, if you haven't pledged, go so and do so in the Pledge Manager. I can promise you a world of adventure and quite a lot of fun in a game that hasn't existed before.
I would concur with that, sir. Right, folks, there you go. So check out the Pledge Manager as soon as it comes up. Belgium, come on, get on there. Get more of your fellow countrymen signing up and getting into this. And of course, map collectors. If we have any map collectors with maps from the 1960s or anywhere in the world, Krister would like to hear from you. Call our hotline or just email him at Best. Actually, that probably makes an awful lot more sense. Though I can tell you now, he would love it if you wrote him a letter or sent him a telegram. So, you know, if you can do that, that'd be just epic.
Yes,
right?
More telegrams.
More telegrams. We'll have to reinvent them just for you. Or send them by airship or messenger pigeon. That would be good too. Right, folks, it's been a ball, but we're going to sign off from you and leave you to the rest of your day. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.